a client? Sometimes those suckers sure can be less than compliant. You got a lot of nothing till he opens up his mouth. And if he doesn't do it, then your business heads south. You need a framework for true communicating, because without one it can be so aggravating. Follow my advice, let me tell you it'll work, and you won't leave your client visit looking like a jerk. Right off the bat you make your questions open-ended. That way you're never gonna go home empty-handed. Ask them please to tell you about the stuff they do, and that's the way to figure out the how, the why, and who. You ask your questions and you get that parrot talking. You gotta let them know they're doing more than squawking. Look them in the eye to show you're listening actively. Feed them lines like, interesting, okay, that's great, I see. This is a person, pal, and not a donkey braying. You gotta make sure that you get just what they're saying. Take some time checking, though I know it sounds absurd. Repeat the things they say so they can hear just what you heard. Conversation's flowing, don't it feel terrific? But if you wanna shine, you gotta get specific. Ask them what they mean and why they said the things they did. Drilling down is what you're doing when you do that, kid. It goes to show you need a framework for true communicating, because without one it can be so aggravating. Follow my advice and let me tell you it'll work, and you won't leave your client visit looking like a jerk. Now let's review what we're talking about here. First of all, ask open-ended questions. That means questions that encourage the client to elaborate and don't let him off the hook with a yes or a no answer. Instead of, are you hiring now? Or do you use freelancers? Ask, tell me, how do you take care of your staffing needs? Or please describe the workflow in your department. That'll get their gums flapping. Secondly, active listening. Show the client that you're paying attention and not just thinking about where you're gonna eat lunch. Make eye contact, take notes, and comment on what they're telling you. Wow, that's interesting. This is great information, etc. Thirdly, checking. You've got to check and make sure that you understand what they're telling you. You can always just read it back at them. I heard you say you have 3 full-time designers and a floating group of part-timers that you usually get from a pool of freelancers. You can also reword what they said to make sure you got it. So, in other words, although Marsha officially hires the designers, you play a major role in the hiring process. Lastly, but not leastly, drilling down. If you are listening closely, you'll hear the clients say things that cry out for more questions. They say, the last agency I worked with didn't get it. Who was that agency? Why didn't they get it? What is it? The simplest way to drill down is just to say, what do you mean? But you can always get more specific. When you say they didn't get it, what part of your business do you think they didn't get? If you ask open-ended questions, listen actively, check and drill down, you'll find that you get a lot more out of the conversations you have with clients, and that means they'll get a lot more out of their relationship with us. And so you see, you need a framework for true communication.